This is Captain Jeffrey Wright. We'll be beginning our flight to Pioneer's Lash momentarily. It's calm here at Martin State. It's calm over at the Lash, but there is a storm system between here and there. Shouldn't be much of a problem. We're just gonna fly over it. So we're about to get underway. Y'all would strap in, and don't worry about anything. We'll all be dead within the hour. Sorry? What's that? What did I said what? Oh my god.
Yeah. Those files are nowhere near as complete as Henry led me to believe. There are names and a good amount of contact information, but not much else. Looks like I'll need to fill in the blanks as I interview suspects. Speaking of which, I need to remember to ask the steward if I can speak with the pilot once we get on the ground. He is the first person on my list. Jeffrey Wright. I really did not get as much sleep as I should have last night. Couldn't stop thinking about what Eric told me. Kept me up most of the night. If Henry's not being on the level with me. Jesus, if Henry's lying to me, anyone could be. I mean, if I can't even trust him, the only person who actually wants me to check this stuff out, who can I trust? I suppose the safe answer to that question is nobody. And that includes Eric. I don't know what his agenda is. Driving 7 hours to talk to someone you don't know about a job you once had, about a trip you once took, where you didn't even discover anything in the first place. That kind of strains credulity a bit. I wonder what he really wants. I feel like I'm starting to get paranoid. It's important that I don't let my ideas get away from me. Oh. Interesting. Pioneer's Lash. Hard to get to, but nobody said reaching paradise was easy. Diving, boating, hammocks? Alcohol has been allowed on Pioneer's Lash since 1996. And even though we think it's sort of shameful, may as well take advantage while you still can. Escape from trouble. Escape from the grind. Never, ever come back. Ever. A lot of vacation destinations pride themselves on loosening up. But on Pioneer's Lash, we pride ourselves on setting your immortal soul free for all eternity. Getting here is hard. Leaving here is harder. Not even proper English. Well, at least this might be useful. I read something about Privateer's Veil. Enid's Bluff. Enid committed suicide on Nantucket. So this must be a memorial, maybe? Port of Montaigne, that's where we're landing. This is a close-up of it. Well, this is definitely a tourist's map, but might still be useful. I should probably just take it with me. Getting a little anxious. There's still no sign of that storm. But we gotta be hitting it soon. The flight's not that long. But the anticipation is getting me worked up. A colleague gave me some meditation balls to try and calm me down. He knows I'm nervous about flying. I should break those out. They say you're supposed to be able to make them go around without touching each other. I'm definitely not there yet. Not. Oh, damn it. Where did that go? Of course. Went completely under my chair. Way back. I could just barely. Wait a minute, what is this? What is this? Some kind of a key? It's a key on a necklace. I guess the previous passenger must have left it. It didn't get caught. It's very pretty. I wonder if it actually unlocks anything. I think I'm gonna keep it for a bit. If turns out I don't use it for anything, I can always return it to the pilot on my flight back to Martin State. Well, I guess if I'm serious about all this, I need to start taking notes. "6 a.m. Monday. Boarded flight to Pioneers." Oh my gosh, my handwriting is awful. Lash. Remember to speak with I can read that. Pretty much nobody else can. Maybe that's good. Good thing I took my nausea medication. If things get turbulent in that storm, it's gonna get really ugly. Heck, it might get ugly, even if it stays clement. Wonder if I can try and fall asleep. That's usually the course my anxiety takes. I get jittery, anxious, then I get really tired. Check my messages. I'm not supposed to do this on a flight, but I'm doing it anyway. Alright, I'm gonna see if I can't sleep through this storm. Skies look like they're getting a little darker, so I guess it's coming up. If I close my eyes and just concentrate, maybe I could fall asleep. If I'm lucky. When I wake up, be on solid ground.
We're on our approach to Pioneer's Lash. It's a sunny and balmy, breezy 82 degrees. So a bad little introduction to our slice of paradise.
What? Oh, Jesus. I slept right through the storm. Perfect. Now I just need to deal with landing. I don't enjoy that at all, but at least I know means the end of the flight is near. See if I can get the steward's attention. Excuse me? Excuse me.
Yes, sir. Can I help you?
Hi, yeah.
Oh, sir, you're going to have to put your tray up. We're coming in for a landing.
Oh, right, yes, I'm going to put my tray up in a moment here. I just wanted to know if it would be possible, you think, for me to talk to the pilot once we're on the ground?
I think that would be okay. I'll ask him.
Oh, that's great, thank you. Okay, I will put all my stuff away and put the tray up. Thank you.
Well, thank you. You have a nice day.
So thank you all for flying Jet Lash. You all have a pleasant vacation.
The steward told me you wanted to have a word with me. Now, I'm always more than happy to speak with passengers, especially after a flight like this one. It was a little dicey going there for a bit, wasn't it? I sure hope you didn't get anxious or ill or anything like that. You're not a litigious person, I hope. A storm like that, it's tough for anyone to get you through without a bit of jostling, you know? Nobody's perfect. Were you wearing your seatbelt? I can't be held responsible for any injuries you sustained if you weren't wearing your seatbelt. I'm sorry. I'm being defensive. Let's start over. What did you wish to speak to me about? Oh, you're here about the Jessup murder. I guess I should have suspected as much. We aren't exactly swimming in tourism lately. That murder didn't help. I'm sure you noticed all those empty seats back there. It's been going like that for a while now. Hoping it's just a dry spell, you know. But you just watch. When you disembark, there's going to be a line of people waiting to get on the plane back to the mainland. Flights back, fully booked. Flights here, well, you saw it. Anyway, I'm sure you heard me over the intercom, but I'm Jeff Wright. And I pilot the only plane that goes to and from Pioneer's Lash. The only passenger plane. We still occasionally get cargo shipments from time to time, but as far as people go, I'm the lone chauffeur. So as you might expect, when Monica died, that made the police, especially Captain Kelly, very interested in what I had to say about anybody coming or going to and from the island. So I'm happy to tell you what I told him. Monica Jessup took a flight to and from Martin State Airport less than a week before she died. And that there is probably the single most interesting piece of information I have to offer. She wasn't talkative. She didn't tell me what she was doing except going to see a friend. She flew back 2 days later, and she was even less talkative then. You know, I wish I'd been more nosy, but I wasn't. There's nothing I can do about that now. So apart from her trip, there wasn't much different about last week. The last batch of people I brought over were some tourists coming out to look at our TNT bunkers. The TNT bunkers? You don't know about them? I guess a lot of people don't. During WW2, Pioneer's Lash was one of a dozen or so sites where the government built munitions manufacturing plants that just churned out explosives. This is eminent domain or some such. They took a lot of what was once called Privateer's Vale and turned it into Ordnance Site 429. I know, right? There's not much color or character to that name, but what do you expect? They were making weapons of mass destruction. Anyway, the long and short of it is that they manufactured thousands of tons of high explosives, and they kept them in these weird little igloo-looking structures, and they were connected with underground tunnels for transport. Now, the explosives themselves are long gone, but those creepy igloos, they still dot the east half of the island. They're supposed to be off limits, but kids sometimes hang out in them, you know, at night and drink, throw parties, whatever. I've even heard that some disenfranchised people live in them, but that doesn't seem likely. In any case, I doubt that has anything to do with what you're interested in, but yeah, the last group of people I brought over here came over to take pictures of those little igloo bunkers. They weren't here very long. I think I took them back the day before the murder. One of them made some comment about my goggles. I didn't appreciate. Didn't sit well with me. Yeah, the goggles. I wear them in case of emergencies. I mean, what if there were a stress fracture in the windshield? Turned into a full cabin breach. You'd want your pilot to be able to see in a situation like that, I take it? A blind pilot's never good. Not that stuff like that happens often. It doesn't, not very often, really. The glass is tough to crack. It'd have to be. Although I did hear once that a seagull's beak, if it impacts at just the right angle, can shatter an airplane's windshield like a bullet through a pane glass window. God knows I've pancaked enough seagulls in my time. Don't look at me like that. It's not like I can swerve to avoid them. If there was some avian god of retribution, he'd probably be breaking out the compass and the ruler to measure angles of incidence and bring this whole baby down. Yep. But there's not. Anyway, I'm trying to think of anything else that might be of interest to you. I know most of the people on the island. Most have flown with me more than once. I could tell you what I know if there's anyone in particular you're interested in. You have a list. Well, that works out well. Can I take a look? Jeffrey Wright. It was me. I promise I'm not a murderer, unless you count seagulls. Terry Cantor? I don't know that name. I don't know this one either. Henry Frank. Do they live on the island? I didn't think so. Now, Kelly Zeno, he's the police captain. He's good people. He's been on the force here for as long as I've been doing this run. So at least 12 years. I can tell you he's pretty upset about this whole ordeal. I know he sympathizes with Monica. Although he says she doesn't have much family and her boyfriend is a deadbeat. He said it was bad for the island. He seems pretty keen to find whoever did it. But I'm sure he'd be more than happy to talk to you. I know for a fact he can tell you a lot more than I can. Russell Herring. That is the deadbeat in question. Monica's boyfriend. Like I said, from what I heard, he's kind of a jerk. I don't like spreading third-hand information, but I heard both before and after the incident that he and Monica got into some pretty violent altercations. Almost positive he's hit her before, but that means he can't be the murderer, right? Because it'd be too obvious. Look, Stork. You have old Stork on your list. He's quite a character. I think he's lived his whole life here. I know him, but not from flying him anywhere. You won't set foot in an airplane. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Pioneer's Lash is the only land he's ever walked. Although God knows he's done enough sailing. So if you talk to him, try to ignore the insults. He's harmless. Dr. Prince, I know him well. He gave me 16 stitches in the side of my head after I botched a landing a few years back. I overshot the runway. I don't know if you noticed this, but the crosswinds here are pretty awful. And it's hard to judge sometimes. Landing here takes skill. I have it down to a science now, but that wasn't always the case. Doc has a steady hand. Don't get me wrong, stitches in your head hurt like the dickens, but I expected worse. He took good care of me. I got barely a scar. Jason Stanley. I don't know him that well. He works at some kind of science institute here. I don't really know what they do. I know they study like the marine life in the shoals. I'm not really sure. I've spoken to him, but just to say hello at the pub. Yeah, I can't really help you with him. Sam Hayward. Really? Why would he be on your list? He's just a kid. And a good one, too. And man, can he play guitar. I don't think he leaves his house much. It should be easy to track down, although, like I said, I don't know why you'd want to talk to him about this. Seems strange. So that's it? That's your whole list? And granted, we are a pretty small island, but we're not that small. I think you need to cast a wider net. That's just me talking, but that's what I'd do. Who would I talk to? It's a good question. I mean, look, you've got a promising start here. Don't get me wrong. Some sensible names, It's good you spoke to me. I meet a lot of people. Captain Kelly, obviously. He's privy to a lot that goes on here. Dr. Prince has probably treated everyone on the island at one point or another. I have no idea what Sam would know. That seems misguided to me. The theater manager would be a good person to talk to. Thaddeus Fellows. Pioneer's Lash is very civic-minded. I'm sure he's met a broad cross-section of people here. And, I know for a fact that Monica Jessup played Ophelia in a production of Hamlet a few summers ago. Not bad, either. She was pretty good. So maybe add him to your list. You can probably find him at the Masthead Theater most days. That's about all I can offer you. It's more than I told Captain Kelly, but don't tell him I told you that. I do hope you find the killer. I mean, business has been horrible, of course, but it's obviously more than that. If you need to talk to me again, well, I'm back and forth, as you might guess. Either from here to Martin State, sometimes BWI, sometimes Dulles. But I fly here most days, so if I'm not around during breakfast, come back and try again during lunch. Like I said, I'm happy to help. One last thing. There are some people on the island who only want one thing more than to find Monica's killer. And that's just to make the whole situation disappear completely. No more bad press, no more feds. Those people are likely to give you a hard time, or maybe just tell you whatever it takes to make you go away. Don't give up. Monica deserves justice, and I, for one, am glad you're here. Good luck, and take care.